New Georgia voting machines ran into massive trouble during the presidential primary, and there are no word on any fixes from the state. Virtual voter lists loaded to iPads at the polling stations could malfunction, pushing voters through without properly registering them at the precinct. Some precincts waited for hours just for the machines to show up, and when they did, after the vote was made, the scanners that were meant to read those votes kicked the ballots back out without reading them. While each step is electronically accessed, Lowndes County Board of Elections Supervisor Deb Cox maintained during early voting that Georgia would have no trouble with the system, and she would not discuss the intricacies of electronic voter lists much further.
The iPad is downloaded with the database for Lowndes County voters, so they can access that and give them credit for voting.
Is it through an app?
I'm not going to discuss that. Sorry.
Okay. Just as we've had some trouble with apps, but not in Georgia.
No. You won't have any trouble with any apps in Georgia. That's not part of the equation.
In addition to the technological vulnerabilities, there are privacy concerns as well.
If there's a line longer than 30 minutes, the poll managers have the option to resort to paper ballots and just simply say, would you like to step out of line and vote a paper ballot, or do you want to wait for a touchscreen, or do you want to wait for the process? And that just speeds things up.
The large screen size also makes it nearly impossible to shield a voter selection from the neighboring voters.
It's like voting on a Jumbotron. They're gigantic. They are 22 inches across, and you mash the screen and your choice lights up. Huge font. Everybody in the room can see it. Press can see it, public can see it, other voters can see it. So there's absolutely zero ballot privacy. Georgia Constitution says that citizens have an absolute right to ballot privacy. The statutes say you cannot use electronic machines unless absolute ballot privacy is protected. And they're trying to put up shields, and if you put one of these ballot marking device touchscreens in a booth or behind a shroud, it gets hacked.
One county in Georgia found themselves unable to comply with the privacy requirement on the new equipment, and they voted to use paper ballots instead.
Prior to the implementation of the direct voting recorders, the DREs that we used previous to this time, I was one of the paper counties. It was the decision of the board, and what we have is pre-printed ballots. It's enclosed inside of a secrecy folder. The voter proceeds to the booth, they will mark the ballot, and places the ballot back into the secrecy folder, proceeds to the scanner, and the scanner is tabulating their votes.
Just a week later, however, the State Board of Elections ordered Athens-Clarke County to stop using those paper ballots and to reinstall their machines. The county was also fined $2,500 for the investigation, despite testimony that voter selections could be seen from the street outside.
What we had set up here in our office was the ballot marking devices, and we provided some type of secrecy for our voters. We had backdrops. We wanted to provide as many ballot stations as we could. According to the majority of our board, that was not enough privacy. So their vote was to change the method of voting and that we do it immediately.
These vulnerabilities will plague Georgia throughout the general election if they are not addressed. It is up to the state government to ensure that their voters are safe and secure in their choices. The question is, will they? For who, what, why? I'm Darlene Acuna.